Thank you, Jean, and welcome everyone on this webinar. My name is Jan Sindler, and I'm a global product manager for upgrades. We're going to talk today about new ABB tool called Energy Efficiency Services. The main aim of this tool is to provide you a guidance what is possible for an improvement of ABB robot consumption. Before we will jump into it, we will talk a little bit about the motivation and why we came with this new tool, and then we will dive deep into the tool itself. If you will have any questions, there will be a Q&A in the end, so please feel free to raise it, or you can also use an email address that's being presented on this slide to contact me directly. So why we came with this new tool? What is it good for? What is our motivation? First of all, we need to understand a little bit the difference between Scope 1 and Scope 3 emissions. So the Scope 1 emissions are all emissions that are being created during the production of the products, no matter what you are producing. And the Scope 3 emissions are the emissions that are being produced during the usage of the product, transporting and other work that is not directly related with the production. And that's exactly how those two emissions are, or two scopes are interconnected together, because what's a Scope 3 emission for ABB, in other words, the energy consumed by the robots, is a Scope 1 emission for you customers while using the robots. And quite often we find out and realize that we know that the robots are consuming energy, but nobody knows if it can be improved, how to improve it, what can be done with that. And that's exactly what we are trying to help you by this new tool that we are presenting today. The sustainability agenda is not only about low carbon society, but that's the main topic we are going to talk about today. And to give you a glimpse why it's important, mainly because every company nowadays has some kind of a plan until 2030 or any other year, how to improve their sustainability targets. So they have a targets that they measure, and then they want to get better to preserve our planet as well as reduce the costs for their production. And here's just a glimpse of what ABB is looking forward to give you a little bit deeper understanding how the KPIs might look like, but I believe all of you have something similar. To have it standardized a bit, quite a lot of us is following 50001 ISO standard, especially in automotive industry. So one of the biggest fear that I've heard from our customers is, if we won't follow this standard or something similar, then we won't be interesting enough for our customers as a supplier, and another supplier who's following it might get an advantage against us. So therefore we all are implementing this, first of all, to not be discriminated, and the second of all, to do something good for our planet and the environment. And with this product that I'm going to present, we're going to help you to fulfill your sustainability targets by improving how robots are being used in your production. So what are the tools that I'm talking about? We came with the 3 tools that altogether has one ultimate goal: to help you get understanding about what the robots are consuming, what kind of consumption it is, and the most important thing, what can you do with that and what you will get out of it. So if you will imagine that you'll measure the overall consumption of the robotic device, that's the chart on the top of this slide, and you will put it together into one number, which is the overall consumption in a month or in a day, then you can simply split the consumption of the robot system into 2 distinguishable parts. The first one is the idle part. That's the moment when the robot is standing still and waiting for produce something. It's more or less the same thing as you turn on your computer but not working on it. It's consuming energy but not producing. And we have a certain measures that we are proposing that can make it better. And for this particular thing, we come with a tool called standby energy optimization, and I will tell you more details a little bit later on. Then there is a productive part of the energy, the part when the robot is moving and creating the products that it has been designed for. And how do you want to improve the consumption of the robot system in that part? Simply by optimizing the program that the robot is using. So we came with a tool called program optimization that's doing exactly that. It's helping you to look at your programs, to understand them well, to identify the gaps, and to help you to close the gaps and therefore improving the consumption. Last but not least, we have the energy monitoring and benchmarking tool. So if you achieve a certain level of the optimization, you would probably want to keep it for a longer time. And it can be easily put back into the state before the optimization just by uploading an old backup into the robot. So this last tool using ABB technology is monitoring the consumption of the manipulator, and if the consumption is increased, it will let you know. So you don't need to monitor it by yourself. The system will do it for you. So from our experience, by combining all of those tools together, you can achieve a consumption improvement of a robot system up to 30%, and you can keep it for as long as you will need. And now, let's take a look at this wonderful video we prepared to present our 3 tools a little bit more in a context. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So as I said before, we have 3 tools, and the tools itself has the only goal to help you to understand what's happening in your robotic system, to report it to you so you can understand it and you can discuss it with your colleagues, to calculate what kind of improvement can be achieved. And by that, we are giving you into your hands a tool that will help you to decide if you will proactively invest money, time, and energy into improving it, or if it's good enough and you can simply say that we don't need to do the improvement, but you have it confirmed and verified by the measurement and the report itself. So you can support your sustainability strategy by at least being able to prove that the robots are optimized as much as possible. So first, the tools need to gather and input information to be able to create the reports. And it's being done a little bit differently for each of those tools. I will tell you a little bit later on. Then the report is created, as I said. The report itself, if you are an experienced customer, just sent to you. If you need a little bit of a guidance and a discussion, then our specialists can come to you and discuss this report to you to get a full understanding. And then you can internally discuss it within your company. If there is a space, budget, and more importantly, will to do something with that. And that's exactly what the report is helping you with. So now let's take a look at the first tool called Standby Energy Optimization. To be able to gather and input data, we came with a measurement box that you can see on the left side of the controller here. It's just a small box with the measurement device inside that can be easily, even by you customers, connected into the controller. Keep it there for 7 up to 30 days to measure the real consumption of the robotic system. Then this measurement is being processed, analyzed, and formalized in the form of the report that you can see in the middle of a slide. And as I said before, then discussed with you the conclusion of the reports, and then you can decide if you can apply the recommendations according to the measures or not. What the corrective measures are. You probably know that the robot system, as well as your laptop, allow you to fall asleep in a different modes, where it has a significantly less consumption than if it's just turned on and waiting for a production. Or it could be simple as just turning it off manually, if you are willing to do so. So that's exactly what's being presented in the report for one of those three possibilities: to turn it off, to fall it asleep, to put it into the hibernate mode. This is being presented in the report, evaluated, calculated, and you can easily see how much you can save by that. Maybe you are asking now why we have 4 columns here. Because all of those modes are suitable for a different behavior. Yeah, for example, if you will have a stops that will be up to half hour, you probably don't want to turn it off manually each time. But you can do it programmatically by using a sleep mode. So what we are doing during the evaluation, we are searching for those preset times of inactivity, and we are calculating how much you are able to save if you will apply one of those saving modes. And that's represented in the report, in the easy-to-read form, so you can easily decide how you will use it, what kind of combination you might use it. And as I said before, if you are feeling insecure, don't hesitate to contact ABB specialists. We are here to help you. Not only understanding the report, but also if you want to moderate a discussion within your company about what can be done with the robots. So by standby energy optimization, we are improving a robot consumption when it's standing still and doing nothing, waiting for work. Here I want to show you why it's important to measure it. So we did a couple of measurements in different countries at different customers, and as you can see, we achieved really different potential for improvement. And why? Simply because the robot is doing a different work. It's being implemented in a different way. At one customer, it's working 1 shift. At another customer, it's working 3 shifts, holding a different kind of tools. So therefore, it's very important to measure it for each customer, at least on a level of a production line that shares the behavior. Here on this example, in Sweden, there is a potential for 25% improvement, but at France, only 2.4. That's the results that came out of the report. So most probably, the Swedish colleagues will decide to do some kind of improvements. And on the other hand, the French colleagues will say, okay, we are good enough. We have a proof for it. So we are good. We don't need to do anything. As I said a little bit before, there is a certain space for scalability of the measurement. So imagine that you have a robot in one continuous production line. Sharing the behavior means the breaks, amount of shifts, those kind of things. Then it's usually enough to do the measurement on one robot. And then the results of the measurement can be simply multiplied for other robots as well. So as you can see here, if we will have 5 robots in a production line working on the same product that's going one by one for each robot, then after the optimization in the Swedish case, we can run 1 robot for free on the electricity. And now let's take a look at a second tool called program optimization. The second tool is focused on improving the robot consumption in the production phase, in the phase where it's moving, and how we can do it differently than just optimize the robot program. And to be able to do so, the input data in this case for us is a robot backup. So we will download a robot backup from the robot, and then the rest of the process is more or less same as on a previous tool. So we will process the backup, we will analyze it, and we will let you know what kind of modifications are possible to get better consumption during the production cycle. Not losing a cycle time means you want to be able to be as fast as before the optimization. You want to produce the same quality products as before the optimization, but you want to do it for less energy, saving money and saving our environment. And how the report looks? It looks like this. So it has a summary of all the features we are evaluating in the program of the robot. And it tells you what is the improvement potential for each one of the feature at that specific robot system. Here the scalability is not possible because the robot programs are completely different robot by robot. So on this page you can easily see how much you can get if you will invest time into the improvements. And the feedback I received from the pilot project was like, the programs are usually so broad, so complex, that we are not able to find where those wrong programming habits or mis-setups are being placed. But if it's condensed in one place like this, triggered by the evaluation tool and highlighted in the form of the report, then an application engineer is more than qualified to do the modifications and changes in the program to reduce the consumption. So the goal is to give him something into his hand that he can follow, that will tell him where he should be focused on and what kind of changes he can do to achieve the improvement. So that's one thing that you are getting from this report. And then the second thing is, for you as managers, this report will help you to decide if you are willing to invest into the improvement, because it tells you, it calculates based on that concrete robot program what kind of improvement is possible and what you will get out of it in terms of consumption reduction and money savings. And then the last step is obvious. You will decide to optimize, or you will decide that it's okay, and you can report it. It's okay because you have the evaluation in your hands. The last but not least tool I'm going to talk about today is energy monitoring and benchmarking. As I said before, this tool itself is not doing the improvement. This tool is helping you to keep the consumption of the robot system on the improved level. So how it works, it's using ABB connected services, which allows to ABB robot to constantly measure the consumption of the manipulator and store it on a server. Therefore, we are able to analyze this average consumption or collected consumption, if you want. And how we do it? We do it simply like you can see on this chart. So we let you as a customer to set up a baseline, something you are comparing your consumption to. That's the black line. So it's up to you to click to the button and say to the system that nowadays consumption is a baseline you want to keep, you want to protect. It also gives you a chance to set up the margin. In other words, how much an average consumption can move around the baseline. And last but not least, by evaluating the consumption day by day, as you can see on the red line in the chart, we can compare the average consumption with the baseline, and if it overreach the margin, we can simply let you know by an email or any form of the notification that you are used to use in the connected services. So that's the first thing that the energy monitoring and benchmarking tool is doing for you, proactively notifying you when something happened. And then the second thing that you will get out of it, because we are measuring other robots as well, we can tell you if your robot system has a better or worse consumption than the other robots in ABB family, doing the same work and being the same type. So you are comparing apples and apples. So those two features are provided by energy monitoring and benchmarking tool and are dependent on using the connected services, because that's the way how we are collecting the input data to be able to do the analysis in this case. And those are all the three tools that I wanted to present to you today. Maybe you are curious how available they are. So the first tool, standby energy optimization, it's available today fully. The program optimization, we are now in the pilot phase. So we are running it with a pre-selected customers, and it will be available in a glimpse of an eye. And then the last one will become available in Q3 this year. Please do not forget that improving the consumption of the robot is not the only thing that you can do to support sustainability. The circular economy that's been fully implemented into the ABB systems is also a way how you can support a sustainable production. Means we can help you to extend the lifetime of ABB robots by upgrading them. If you need to get rid of the lines, we are offering a buyback program for our robots. And last but not least, we have refurbishment centers that can give a second life to ABB robots, saving up to 75% CO2. So, if you have more questions, do not hesitate to contact us. We are here for you. We can come to your place and we can moderate the discussion about this topic with you, or we can also assist you to lead the discussion internally in your company. And if you want to learn more and you are interested about the details about those services, please follow the web line that you can see on this slide and you will get more information there. Thank you for your time, and let's jump into the Q&A part of this webinar.